into madness. The people is giving the damage. They turn into animal savage. So rhinos and hippos and mammoths. The hero is coming, I'm locked in. You know that I'm winning, I'm top 10. You know that I came from the dog pen. You want it, you get it, you drop dead. The rebel who came from the bottom. My enemies know that I got it. I'm planting my seeds in gardens, then watching them sprout and harvest. The greatest was always in my plans. Battle the kid is white flags. Not on my level where I stand.
Hello and welcome to Inspired Earth. We've definitely got a lot of stuff to talk about. I haven't done a news update in a little bit, but it wasn't too long, just long enough for things to start to stack up. And boy, there is a lot of stuff to talk about. So much so that it's hard to pick what to put in the show today. So I will be talking about some headlines and just skimming through some stuff, kind of like Art Bell had done at the beginning of his shows, before we dive into the main topics, because they are very, very interesting and extensive. So we'll end on those, and that will be pretty interesting. And I know everybody really enjoys the rescues, and I found one like right off the bat, which is rare, and it seems like it's a pretty good one. It's from Colorado, so we will have that at the end as well to be looking forward to, because I enjoy those, other people enjoy them. Always a riveting tale of survival. So we'll start with the first news updates, and I'm sure everybody's heard of the microplastic situation going on that's been evolving, kind of an evolving story. Well, in the past week or two, maybe even longer, they had said that they've been detecting microplastics in every sperm test that they've had, like pretty much across the world. Every time they test sperm, they find microplastics in it. And then they find another article here, or study, that shows microplastic discovery in penises raise erectile dysfunction questions. So that's pretty interesting that across the world it seems to be plastic is bioaccumulating in that particular area and apparently causing issues with people. It's really weird though, because here it says that male fertility is dropping in decades, and there was another study from the Dutch that just came out that refuted that says that fertility rates are not dropping. And it's just really strange how we have these two different lines of thinking and study in the scientific community and the mainstream, both presented to us at the same time. And maybe we'll talk about that in depth, like putting those two side by side in the future, if people are interested in that. I have so many different projects going on. I have like 4 different specials and a book that I'm working on. So a lot of different stuff to work on. So, you know, what if people like stuff, let me know what you like so I know what to work on, because I'm working on a lot of different stuff. But I found this to be interesting that it's bioaccumulating in the male nether regions. Out of all the organs for plastic to accumulate in, it's I mean, it kind of makes sense because that's like a waste area, but the testes are not used for waste, so that's just, it's strange. But and then the fertility thing of them having contradicting information out there, and anytime I see that in the media, I try to point that out, because I don't know who else is out there pointing these things out, but we have these wildly contradicting claims in science and mainstream media, and I guess it just goes over some people's heads or something, that, you know, they like are so busy with their day that they don't see these two things and put them side by side. But I'm at least going to mention it so that we can think about it, and we might come back to that again. And here on the next one, elephants are the first non-human animals known to use names, AI research shows. And that's pretty interesting. I mean, elephants have been known to mourn their dead and follow their dead around and carry their dead around for days and weeks, even apes and stuff, chimpanzees will carry their dead around. So obviously they're in mourning, I would say. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, but apparently some humans do need to have that explained to them, and it does need a scientist to explain that to some people, apparently. Case in point, Iceland grants whale hunting permits despite animal welfare concerns. So yeah, whale hunting. And whales are mammals, just like us. I just wanted to point that out as well. That they're basically like sea apes, giant sea mammals. They're really closely related to us as far as anything else in the ocean is concerned. They give live birth. They breathe oxygen. They have bones. They have spines. Sounds like us. And they talk to each other and they sing and they appreciate sounds. So, yeah. Oh yeah, and they have families. They're also extremely social creatures. They mourn their dead as well, and they will follow around their families, and they are very instinctual in that. So, kind of interesting how all these things are kind of related to each other in one way or another. And as we learn about so many different things, we see that all of these different things connect in different ways to each other, which is pretty interesting. But we have Mars here. I will mention in the news that Mars, they said that they didn't think that there was ice at the top of the pole, and that some study came out saying that there was no ice or water at the top of the pole is what that they thought. But then this study comes out the same week, but a little bit like later on after that one. This is from June 14th, and it says that massive amount of water frost unexpectedly found in Mars volcanoes. And we thought it was improbable for frost to form around Mars' equator, as the mix of sunshine and thin atmosphere keeps temperatures during the day relatively high at both the surface and mountaintop, unlike what we see on the Earth, where you might expect to see frosty peaks, said lead author Adamos Valentinas, postdoctoral fellow at Brown University, and some other people. What we're seeing may be a remnant of ancient climate cycle on modern Mars, where you had precipitation and maybe even snowfall on these volcanoes in the past. The study revealed that this frost is present only for a few hours after sunrise before evaporating into the sunlight. It is incredibly thin, likely about 1/100th of a millimeter thick, which is roughly the width of a human hair. That's bizarre that we're seeing this from space, something the width of a human hair from space. I'm not sure if their assessment of that thickness is correct, but if it is, then that's astounding that we can see human hair thick sheet of glass in a volcano from space. Because I'm looking at a picture of it right now. It's a teeny tiny picture. And on that note, I know I've already said this, and now I'm probably going to say it again. I'm laughing at myself right now because it's so frustrating. Why do we get the littlest, tiniest, itsy bitsy pictures of Mars from these multi-million-dollar pieces of equipment that we put into the solar system? Why does the public always get the teeniest tiny, like, kilobyte-sized pictures? I can rant about that forever, so I'll just move on. But it's just, I see this tiny picture here. It's, what the heck? Despite its thinness, the frost covers a significant area. Researchers estimate that at least 150,000 tons of water cycles between the surface and the atmosphere daily during the cold seasons, equivalent to 60 Olympic-sized pools. The Tharsis region, where the frost was found, contains numerous towering volcanoes, some of which are 1 or 2 times the height of Earth's Mount Everest. Olympus Mons, for example, is as wide as France. I think that we've read about that one before. The frost is located on the calderas of these volcanoes, large hollows at their summits formed during past eruptions. The team suggests that air circulation above these mountains creates a unique microclimate allowing the frost to form. So, as soon as they use the word microclimate, I just, like, my ears were burning and ringing. Whatever phrase you want to use, I'm putting them both together now. That microclimate, you're talking about life right there. If we found one microclimate and it's at the top of a volcano, I can tell you there's going to be thousands of microclimates inside of that one volcano probably. And it's, what, twice the size of Mount Everest? That's just like one volcano. So most likely there is a labyrinth of tunnels and caves and lava tubes throughout Mars that has these microclimates. I mean, they said it themselves. And life is going to be able to evolve in these little tiny places completely separate than everything else, and it will be shielded from the rest of the planet. It'll be its own little area there. And I think that we found places like that on Earth. So the chances of finding life, I think, are definitely high. And it says this is crucial for the exploration of the search for potential of signs of life, that scientists could uncover more of Mars' secrets, including the distribution and movement of water on the planet's complex atmospheric dynamics. And it says that the frost was detected using high-resolution color images from the Color Stereo Surface Imaging System, CASIS, on board European Space Agency's Trace Gas Orbiter. So that system was something that I think we launched. I think we launched CASIS. But the findings were validated with the observations from high-resolution stereo camera on the ESA's Mars Express Orbiter and the nadir and occultation for Mars Discovery spectrometer on the Trace Gas Orbiter. Tracing the signatures of frost on Mars, the researchers analyzed over 30,000 images to initially find and confirm the frost. So they're saying they have 30,000 images from all of these different types of orbiters and equipment that I just listed, and all that we get is this itty-bitty picture. Oh, so, well, when I click on it, it's a little bit bigger, but it's still not that big. I mean, this is a little bit better than I mean, y'all should have seen how small this picture was in the article. When you click on it, it gets a lot bigger, but it's still not big enough. It's a lot bigger than I thought, though, at first. So, the notion of the second genesis of life beyond Earth has always fascinated me. As he transitioned to his role at Brown, Valentinas plans to continue exploring Martian mysteries, pivoting towards astrobiology. Working with Brown planetary scientist Jack Mustard, he aims to characterize ancient hydrothermal environments that could have supported microbial life. Samples from these environments might be returned to Earth by NASA-led Mars Sample Return Mission. And they list some signs of life on Mars, such as liquid water. Mars rovers like Curiosity and Perseverance found evidence of ancient riverbeds, lake beds, mineral deposits that typically form from water, suggesting Mars once had liquid water on top of its surface. Organic molecules have been found in Martian soil, which are typically the building blocks of life. Methane, which predominantly is produced by biological processes, has been found, although geological processes can also confirm or make methane, so they can't confirm that it is biological, and they will be returning with future missions. Here we have some Neuralink news, and what was it that I said the last Neuralink update? I'm pretty sure it was the last one, but I had said I would hate to work on this project professionally, because it seems like a nightmare. And here we have one of the people that worked on it professionally saying that it was a nightmare, and it was way worse than probably any of us were imagining. So let's see, let's dive into this. This came out on the 15th, the June 15th, and we're reading from MSN.com. And it says it's coming from New Delhi, Times of India. So that's kind of interesting. But so New Delhi, Elon Musk's brain implant startup Neuralink is facing a lawsuit from a former employee who claims she was forced to work with monkeys carrying herpes B virus under unsafe conditions and was later fired after announcing her pregnancy. The complaint filed on Friday in California State Court adds to a growing scrutiny of the company's treatment of animals and workplace practices. Geez, she got fired after announcing her pregnancy. I mean, Elon Musk has always been notorious for running good old boy companies that misogyny and sexual violence are pretty prevalent in at least Tesla. We've heard it a lot from Tesla employees saying that sort of stuff. And now we have it from Neuralink. Probably more from Neuralink and as well Twitter. So pretty much all three of his companies. So I think that says a lot about him and his rapport, I guess, or who he is as a person, possibly. But the lawsuit by Lindsay Short, a former employee at Neuralink's Fremont, California site, alleges that the company created a hostile work environment filled with unrealistic deadlines, blame, and shaming. According to Bloomberg, who joined Neuralink in August 2020, was fired after informing her supervisors of her pregnancy. In her complaint, Short alleges that she was made to work with monkeys that carried the herpes B virus, a potentially deadly pathogen, without adequate protective gear. On one occasion, she said a monkey scratched her through her glove, and in another incident, she was scratched on the face. The company allegedly threatened severe repercussions when she sought medical attention for the injuries. Short is suing Neuralink for retaliation, wrongful termination, gender discrimination, among other claims. She also contends that the company did not honor its promise of flexible work hours to accommodate her family and instead demoted her 2 months after a promotion in May 2023. Neuralink did not immediately respond to requests for comment on the lawsuit. The company, which is in early stages of clinical trials for its brain implant designed to aid paralyzed patients, has been criticized in the past for its treatment of animals during research. According to Reuters, Neuralink has faced federal investigation over potential animal welfare violation. The probe, initiated by the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Inspector General, came after internal complaints that Musk's pressure to speed up development led to rushed and botched animal tests, resulting in unnecessary suffering and deaths. The investigation, reported by Reuters in December 2022, looked into violations of the Animal Welfare Act at Neuralink's facilities. Neuralink's past animal research has included a partnership with the University of California, Davis, where surgeries on monkeys reportedly resulted in severe complications and deaths, as noted by an animal rights group. The group, Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, accused Neuralink and UC Davis of using incorrect surgical methods, leading to unnecessary suffering of the test animals. That's grotesque. This is some Island of Dr. Moreau type of activity from Elon Musk. It's for the more that I read about what has happened to these animals, the more disturbing it has become, and the notion of putting this sort of stuff in people just becomes more and more freaky But Elon Musk has been known for pushing his team to move quickly, often under intense pressure. According to Reuters, employees at Neuralink have reported a high stress environment, with Musk demanding accelerated timelines for development. Musk has previously expressed his disdain for using animals in research, but has emphasized the need for fast progress in developing technologies that could potentially help people with severe disabilities. Neuralink's approach has involved testing multiple aspects of its technology in rapid succession without fully addressing issues from earlier experiments, leading to repeated tests and additional animal deaths. This practice has raised concerns among current and former employees about the quality of data and ethical implications of the company's research methods. In an attempt to improve public perception, this part, you can't even make it up, man. This sounds like it's in a movie or a joke or something. And, like, it's kind of funny, but, like, while you're laughing, just really get how weird and freaky and, like, really messed up this is. In an attempt to improve public perception, Neuralink has made efforts to create better living conditions for its test animals, including developing facilities referred to internally as Monkey Disneyland or the Monkey Taj Mahal, according to former employees. That's very Trumpian. That's an extremely Trumpian statement. However, these measures have done little to mitigate the backlash against the company's animal testing practices. Neuralink's ongoing legal and ethical challenges highlight the broader difficulties faced by companies in high-stakes fields of medical research, where the pressure to deliver results can sometimes conflict with ethical and regulatory standards. As Neuralink continues its efforts to bring its brain implant technology to market, scrutiny over its treatment of both employees and animals is likely to intensify. So, wow. Oh, that was a lot. I mean, geez Louise. So, and like I was telling you guys before, that by the time that he gets this biomechanical stuff done, we're gonna have bioengineering stuff that could fix everything that he's trying to fix by, like, these crazy surgeries. We'll have, like, other stuff to fix that with. And I didn't even mean to line it up like this, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. That for the first time, CRISPR-based gene editing used to enhance photosynthesis. So we can use CRISPR or gene editing stuff to probably, like, do whatever he's trying to do with a machine, for the most part. There may be circumstances where you need, like, a physical surgery or whatever, but I'm just pointing out that, like, all of that I just read is pretty much all going to be useless by the time that it actually comes to market and, like, it's perfected. We will have already perfected the bioengineering, and it will be a secondary type of thing and not the primary one, at least. I mean, I guess it's good that we have both perfected, but at what cost? Because I feel like we could work safely on biomechanical engineering and Neuralink. Like, hypothetically, Neuralink could be safely doing some sort of, they could be doing a better job. A lot better of a job. I mean, this is just ridiculous. And then firing the lady for her being pregnant is, like, the icing on the cake there. So a team of researchers has exhibited for the first time the ability of CRISPR-based gene editing to alter photosynthesis. By altering the upstream regulatory DNA of a food crop, researchers at University Berkeley Innovative Genomics Institute have increased the gene expression of that crop. The attempt marks a departure from previous studies utilizing CRISPR gene editing techniques to either knock out genes or reduce their expression. According to researchers, the research marks the first unbiased attempt to elevate gene expression and enhance downstream photosynthetic activity. The Nyogi lab at UCB pursued the research as part of realizing increased photosynthetic efficiency, a global initiative led by University of Illinois, striving to boost food production by enhancing crop photosynthesis. And the study was published in journal Science Advances. And I'm reading from Interesting Engineering. And it says, Quest for Natural Gene Modification. CRISPR is a tool empowering geneticists and medical researchers to edit genetic material precisely. Through targeted interventions, this technology allows for the removal, addition, or alteration of specific sections within the DNA sequence, revolutionizing the field of genetic manipulation. So this is like a Lego piece, if you want to think of it like that, of just like plug and play, of like taking stuff out and putting stuff in real time using this technology with DNA, which is something that we haven't been able to do before. But there's a problem with doing that because we don't know what we're doing. So like half the time when we do something, either it doesn't work or it has a negative effect. And yeah, it's just, we haven't really had much success with it. So it's been really new. We just know that it's really powerful, but we haven't really been able to do much with it until this one comes out. So let's see what they did. Past research has shown that this tool can be used to decrease expression of genes involved in important trade-offs, such as those between plant architecture and fruit size, said Dhruv Patel Tupper, lead author on the study and former postdoctoral researcher. In contrast to synthetic biology techniques that employ genes from other living forms to enhance photosynthesis, all plants naturally possess the genes responsible for photoproduction. Motivated by an earlier research in 2018 on how overexpressing one of these genes, PSBS, in plants increased the water use efficiency of a model crop, led by researcher Chris Nyogi, set out to find a way to modify a plant's native gene expression without introducing foreign DNA. So they've just been putting in, I guess they find DNA that has a specific purpose that they found in other plants, and they take out that DNA and then put it into other DNA, like other plants, hoping to get that trait and put it into another plant. And it says that they've been able to do that to decrease expressions. So the Food and Agriculture Organization states rice provides over 20% of global calories. According to researchers, it's a single copy of 3 key photoprotection genes made it ideal for this gene editing study. The strategy of the lab was to modify the DNA upstream of the target gene, which regulates the amount of time of gene expression. Using CRISPR, they intended to analyze how much these modifications would affect downstream activities. Boosting gene expression. The DNA alterations that boosted gene expressions exceeded researchers' expectations and surpassed what's typically observed in similar studies. We were a little bit surprised, but I think it goes to show how much plasticity plants and crops have. They're used to these big changes in their DNA from millions of years of evolution and thousands of years of domestication. That's interesting. So, because these plants have been around for so long, their DNA is more resilient and it's used to like stuff moving around. I guess it has a bunch of redundancies for the important parts, and that makes it to where it can withstand changes. That's really interesting. During the research, ripe scientists discovered that inverting the regulatory DNA led to heightened PSVS gene expression. Following the largest inversion, the team performed RNA sequencing to analyze genome-wide gene activity changes. They observed minimal differential gene expression, indicating their method preserved vital processes without interference. Even though the team demonstrated that this approach is feasible, it is still not very common. Approximately 1% of the generated plants exhibited the desired phenotype. So they only have a 1% success rate. We showed a proof of concept here that we can use CRISPR to generate variants and key crop genes and get the same leaps as we would in traditional plant breeding approaches, but on a very focused trait that we want to engineer and at a much faster time scale. Researchers highlight that utilizing the existing framework rather than transgenic plants presents more challenges, yet it offers the potential to address regulatory hurdles, potentially expediting the accessibility of such tools to farmers. But so that's really good, but I kind of ended the same way that Musk Neuralink did, was that they're talking about getting around regulatory hurdles, and CRISPR is something that is like, we don't know what we're doing, so maybe we shouldn't just be jumping around regulatory stuff, or maybe we should try to get a firm grasp on it, so if there's ever a bad actor that tries to use CRISPR for something that's not good, we will be able to defend it against it. Because if we don't research it, then we won't know how to defend against it. But the concept of some malevolent bad actor using CRISPR to do something bad is like really, really bad. And most people probably won't even want to talk about it so that nobody gets the idea in their head. But I'm hoping that they're working on it.